Illinois men are facing charges in connection with a church burglary in Columbia County. Investigators say solving the case took months of detective work and help from agencies across several Midwest states. Our Shayna Najawan explains how one clue helped connect the dots.
Detectives say what started as a burglary at a rural Columbia County church quickly grew into a multi-state investigation.
That was a major factor in this from our detective to recognize, hey, this sounds like something I read recently from a different agency.
That memory helped investigators connect the Columbia County case to similar church burglaries in Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, and Kentucky.
The interagency collaboration and information sharing to be able to identify that these suspects had been operating in different states, and they're from like 3 to 4 hours away from here, so they were traveling for this specific purpose.
But before detectives could connect the cases, they first had to figure out who broke into Lake Wisconsin Evangelical Free Church last November. Investigators say thousands of dollars in sound equipment and musical instruments were stolen.
About a week or so after the burglary had occurred, that particular guitar was found for sale on eBay at a guitar shop down in Illinois. So we were able to develop a suspect through the sale of that guitar.
Detectives say that lead, along with phone records, license plate reader cameras, and other investigative techniques, helped them link 2 Illinois men to the burglary.
We were able to find that vehicle had been in Columbia County the night of the burglary through plate reader cameras.
Detectives recovered the stolen guitar from an Illinois guitar shop after being listed on eBay, but say most of the other stolen equipment has not been found.
If you have high-end electronics or musical instruments or anything of high value like that, having that serial number available, if it's stolen, is very helpful to us because it helps us really lock in that when we find an item, it is that item. So I'd encourage everyone to document that information.
Investigators say they also received information about similar church burglaries in Oregon and Stoughton and hope the work done in Columbia County helps those Dane County agencies solve their cases as well. In the newsroom, Shayna Najawan, WMTV 15 News.
The Columbia County Sheriff's Office says 2 Plainfield, Illinois men have been charged in the burglary. Anyone with information is asked to contact investigators.